Hi everyone, it's Lynn Dion here from Pink Whisper Designs. Today I'm going to be showing you a brand new stamp set from Art Impressions called Baby Critters. And the best part is these stamps come with coordinating dies as well, which I'll show you a little bit later on. You get all of these adorable little critters, the elephant, the lion, the giraffe, the hippo. We're going to use all of those and that little bird as well. And then we're going to grab a sentiment from this set. And you can see you get quite a few of these really nice sentiments that coordinate with these images. So for coloring, I'm going to use my Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens in mustard, brown, and sugared almond pink. And I'm just going to start with the pink on the cheeks. Now I'm using my blender pen to do my blending, and I'm going to start with that lighter color and blend that into the face a little bit. I will only give you the colors for the actual critters themselves. All the other colors for all the little extra pieces, the balloons and the candles and cakes and all that, I will just list all of those colors down at the bottom and also on my blog as well. So I'm going to start with that darker color down here towards the bottom and just pull that up and just kind of create some shadows here. And as I always say, you could certainly use a water brush here as well if you prefer to do your blending that way. And I like to use the Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock to do my blending. It just kind of keeps the ink up on top of the paper a little bit longer so that I have a little bit more time to do my blending. So I'm adding those shadows right around the mane there and then pulling it out towards the edges to keep those edges the lightest. And these are just so much fun to color in. These are just so adorable. And then for the little balloon, I'm going to go ahead and color that in. And I'm pretty much going to use mostly the primary colors, the rainbow colors, the reds, orange, yellows, greens, blues, purples, those kinds of tones. And then we're going to be creating a little bit of a scene with these as well. Now here I did get a little bit of the red down into the balloon here. So you can pick up color and scribble it on your scrap paper. So I'm just going to do that until I get the look that I want there. Now the gray brown I'm going to use to do the little hippo. So again, I'm just going to show you the colors I use to color the little critters. Again, I'm adding pink to the cheeks. And then just adding some of those darker colors down at the bottom. Now, this set I think is going to be really versatile because you could use all of these critters for many different projects. And they coordinate with some of your other critters as well. One of my favorite sets from last year was the koala set. I just thought they were adorable and I used them in so many different ways. So I think this is going to be the same. I think I'm just going to find many different ways to use these. So again, I'm adding those shadows just a little bit there right along the snout and then just kind of blending that up. And I do want to keep the front there the lightest. I'm just gently blending in that pink color a little bit. And then I'm going to use a pretty violet color to do the ribbon. And then I'm going to use yellow and orange to do the little party hat. Then I'm going back to that sugared almond pink. And a little bit of that mustard color. And then the wine red again to do that little cherry on top. And a little bit of that gray brown on the bottom of the cupcake here. So now that that's all set, we'll color in this little elephant, and I'm using the gray brown to do the elephant. I like to put the pink down first for the cheeks and for the ears before I start my blending. Then I kind of know where I'm going to be blending in towards, because I want to just blend up and into the pink just a little bit. So there you see I add my pink first, and then I start doing my blending. I just find it a little bit easier to figure out exactly where I want the shading to be. And then I can gently blend that pink in, just kind of going around it. And you can always add more of the pink afterwards as well. And then for this little ribbon, I'm going back to that wine red again. And I'm just removing any excess color there. When you see me scribbling on the scrap paper there, I'm just pulling some color off and just removing it from my blender pen. And for the little hat, I'm going to add a little red. And then to clean off your blender pen, you just scribble it on some scrap paper until it goes clear, and then you'll know that it's clean. And here I'm adding a little bit of the green. Then a little orange for that platter. And then a little bit of that mustard color for the cake. Some yellow and orange on the candle. And that cobalt blue on the base of the candle. And then a little bit of that sugared almond pink. Now for this bird here, I'm going to add the pink to the cheeks. Then I'm adding a little bit of yellow. And then I'm going back to that cobalt blue. Now here, I don't want to blend too much into that yellow because I don't want to create a green color. So I'm just kind of going right up to the edge of the yellow there. Just blend the yellow out a little bit and the blue right up to the edge of it. And you can always scribble off any excess that you might get down in there. And then I'll add a little green to that little party favor. And then for my little giraffe, I'm going to go ahead and use the brown, which is that kind of reddish brown color. I'm adding the pink again so that I know exactly where to do my blending. And I'm adding a little bit of that mustard color just to kind of create those lighter areas now. And I wish I could tell you about all the new images that are going to be coming out in the future here. They're going to be releasing them, I believe, every couple of weeks there's going to be a new release. So I'm really excited about it. I think you will be too. There are just some absolutely beautiful things, fun things coming out. So keep an eye out for that. Now I'm just going to keep the face lightest here. And then I'm going back to that cobalt blue and the green, the orange, and the yellow. And I'll use the blue and yellow for this little party hat. So there we have everything all colored in. Now, the next thing I want to do is create some little vines for my jungle here. So I'm going to use that one from this stamp set. This is the Birdhouse Cubbies Set. And I'm going to go ahead and just ink up that vine several times. And again, I'm using the VersaFine Onyx Black ink on some Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock. And I stamped quite a few, I think like 8 or 9 of these. And then with May Green, Yellow, and Green, I'm going to color these in. And I'm just going to change up the way I color them. So I'll color them all a little bit differently. So I'm starting with the yellow here, adding a little bit of the light green, and then at the base, the darker green. And I'll just pull that up towards the tip. And that yellow will give a little bit of a highlight to our leaves. But again, I'm going to change those up so that they all look a little bit different. Now I'm grabbing the coordinating die and I'm going to go ahead and tape that down with a little bit of purple tape, and I'll run that through my Sizzix Sidekick machine. Now using this largest die and the second largest die, these again are from Art Impressions. These are the rectangle A2 double stitch dies. I'm going to create a frame. So what I want to do here is just make sure these are centered. Make sure that smaller one is centered right inside the larger one here. And then I'm going to just tape these two dies together. So I'm not taping it to the paper here. I'm just taping the dies together. Because we're going to run this through 2 times, and I want to make sure my frames are the exact same dimensions. So I'm going to go ahead and run this first one through, placing it on a little bit of an angle. Just makes it a lot easier to run that through, especially when you have these taped together like this. And then I'm going to run that second one through. So you can see by taping the dies together, they'll be the exact same size and shape. So I'm going to go ahead and take my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive and I'm going to attach these two together. Just take a second or two here to line those up. Now I wanted to create a wood grain on the frame. So there is this frame from the Bible journaling set, and this is the wood frame set. And I'm going to use this a little bit differently because I want, again, just to create that wood grain texture. So I'm going to grab that stamp there, and I'm using my VersaFine Sepia ink. This is a permanent ink. And I'm going to go ahead and line up that frame with that corner there. So that'll give us those wood grain lines all the way around the frame. So I'm going to start here in this corner. And then I'm going to just turn my paper all the way around, so 180 degrees here. And then I'm going to ink up that same corner. And then what I'll do is move the stamp to the side here. And then I'm just going to block off the top section where I already have stamping. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that again. And again, I'm just masking off that area that I already have the wood grain. So you see, I'll do that again here. I'm just going to mask off that little area at the top and then stamp that again. And that's going to give us the illusion of a wood grain frame here. You could certainly skip this portion if you wanted to, but I just thought it gave it a little more interest. Now with brushed corduroy and ground espresso, I'm going to add that brushed corduroy all the way around, a nice even coating of that all the way around. And these are my Tim Holtz Distress Oxide inks. And then I'll grab that ground espresso and I'm going to go right around the edges of the frame just to take away that white edge on the inside and on the outside. And then I'm just going to add some dark areas here and there, just kind of random here, just to give it, again, more the look of wood grain. So I did that all the way around. Now I want to die cut a panel with that largest rectangle. This is going to be for our sky. Using Blue Hawaii and Pool Party. These are the Hero Hues reactive inks, so these react really beautifully with water. So if you want to spritz these or spatter them, they're going to give you a beautiful effect with water. Now here what I'm doing is I'm putting a little on my glass medium mat. I'm spritzing it with a little bit of water from my distress sprayer, and then I'm just patting that paper right down onto that ink. I'm going to do that again here with the blue Hawaii, and I'm just adding some darker tones here. And then I can go right to the paper with my spray, and I'm going to spray that with some water and just get a little bit of that blending on there. Trying to get those colors just to blend together a little bit. And then I can take my heat tool and just heat set this. Now you can do this as many times as you want, and we will be adding a little bit more color here. So I went ahead and dried this off. And now what I'm going to do is add a little bit more color. So down in there I wanted to add a little more of that pool party. So again, I'm just going to go and pat that on. So you can, again, add as many layers of color as you like here. You can just keep layering up your colors. I'm spritzing it again with a little bit of water just to blend those colors out. And then I'll heat set that. I'm just dabbing that off with a little paper towel there. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of that pool party. So this is really easy to do, very forgiving, and you can just spritz it with water. If you don't like it, just spray it down a little bit and you can add more ink. So you can do this often, and it's just, and I'm just using my finger just to blend those edges out a little bit. And then I'll go ahead and heat set that one last time. So now you can see that pretty combination of colors that we get there. So that's going to sit right on the front panel of my card, and I'm using my ATG 700 permanent tape to attach this, and I want to make sure that I use plenty of tape here so that it will lay nice and flat. And this is a standard A2 size card, which measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now for the little critters, I'm going to go ahead and grab the dies, the coordinating dies that come with the set, and I'm running those through the Sizzix Sidekick machine. Now with my circle double stitch dies, I'm going to take the second and third largest dies, and I've cut that larger circle out of some craft cardstock, and that sentiment, "I'm wild about you," is from this same set, and I've cut that out of some white Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock. I went ahead and stamped that sentiment, and now I'm just adding a little bit of ground espresso all the way around the edges there, just to give it a little bit more of a shadow. I'm going to set that aside for now. And now I've got these little vines that we stamped and cut before. And I'm going to add some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to these and create a little bit of a jungle background here. So I'm just going to glue these right to our sky here. And I want to mix up the darker and lighter ones and then the heights as well. So I'm just going to kind of just place these randomly here, and then we'll check this in a minute. I'll go ahead and just trim off where they hang over the edges there. And you do want to put them on different angles. And then that's the frame that's going to lay over right over the top there. So what I'm going to do is cut some Scotch foam mounting tape. I'm just cutting it into some strips here. And that'll be the first layer that we're going to put down. We're going to actually double this up, but we're going to start with this first layer. I'm removing the backing from the bottom of the frame, just the bottom for now. I want to position my little critters right along that bottom frame, and I'm going to use this adhesive to position these down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sandwich those in between another layer of Scotch foam mounting tape. Now I did debate about putting some of those vines on that panel, but I decided against it. I decided just to keep them all in the background here. But you certainly could add them to the frame or add them in between here as well, just like we're doing with the critters. So again, I'm just trimming off any excess there. And then I'll continue adding my little critters. So now I can see that I need just a couple more little vines in here, and we'll be adding a few more later on as well. Just checking to see where that needs to go. And now I'm going to double up this foam tape. And I also want to put foam tape behind all my little critters. So here you see me doubling up the foam tape, and I'm going to do that all the way around all four sides. And then I'm going to add a single layer of foam tape here on all the little critters. So I can go ahead and remove the backing, and I can attach that to my panel. Now we've got the little sentiment there, and I want to attach the bird to this. So I'm putting a little glue on the back of this bird, and I'm just going to put it towards the left side of this sentiment. And then I'll pop this whole thing up with some foam mounting tape. And then here I just decided to add one more vine just to give a little bit more height over towards the right hand side of the card here, just to fill in a little bit more here. And I'm going to let that dry. So now you can see a closer look at our completed card, and you can see that wood grain finish that we have around the edges of the frame and these adorable little critters. I just love these guys. So I hope you enjoyed a first look at these baby critters. And if you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to visit me at pinkwhisperdesigns.com. As always, thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.